Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. So we're reading, let's see.
Can you speak into the
Into the mic,
Yes.
okay. Into the mic.
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 A reading from Srimad Bhagawatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Verse 6, Creation of the Universal Form. Hiranmaya
Hiranmaya
Sa
Sa
Purusha
Purusha.
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Sahasra
Sahasra
Parivatsaram
Parivatsaram.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Andakosha
Andakosha
Uvasapsu
Vasapsu.
Andakosha Uvasapsu
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Sarva
Sarva
Sattva
Sattva
Parivitam
Parivitam.
Sarva Sattva Parivitam
Sarva Sattva Parivitam.
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Andakosha Uvasapsu
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Sarvasattva Parivitam
Sarva Sattva Parivitam.
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Andakosha Uvasapsu
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Sarvasattva Parivitam
Sarva Sattva Parivitam.
Hiranmaya Sapurusha
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Andakosha Vasapsu
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Sarvasattva Parivatsaram
Sarva Sattva Parivitam.
Hiranmaya Sapurusha
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Andakosha Vasapsu
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Sarva Sattva Prabhrimika
Sarva Sattva Parivitam. Hiranmaya Sa Purusha. Hiranmaya Sa Purusha. Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Sahasra Parivatsaram
Andakosha Vasapsu.
Andakosha Uvasapsu
Sarva Sattva Prabhrimhitam.
Sarva Sattva Parivitam
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha.
Hiranmaya Sa Purusha
Sahasra Parivatsaram.
Sahasra Parivatsaram Hiranmaya,
Hiranmaya,
Garbhodaksha Vishnu,
Garbhodaksha Vishnu,
who also assumes Divyata Rupa.
Divyata
Saha
Saha
He Purushaha, incarnation of Godhead.
Incarnation of Godhead,
Sahasra, 1,000.
1,000,
Parivatsaram,
Parivatsaram,
celestial years.
celestial years,
Andakoshe,
Andakoshe,
within the global universe.
within the global universe,
Uvasa,
Vasa,
resided.
Apsu, Apsu,
On the water.
on the water,
Sarvasattva,
Sarvasattva,
all living entities,
all living entities,
lying within.
lying within,
Upabrinhita,
Upabrinhita,
so spread.
so spread.
Translation. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1,000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay within. Report. After the Lord entered each and every universe as the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, half of the universe was filled with water. The cosmic manifestation of the planetary systems of space, etc., which are visible to us, is only 1/2 of the complete universe. Before the manifestation takes place, and after the entrance of Vishnu within the universe, there is a period of 1,000 celestial years. All living entities injected within the womb of the Mahatattva are divided in all universes with the incarnation of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And all of them lie down with the Lord until Brahma is born. Brahma is the first living being within the universe, and from him all of the demigods and living creatures are born. Manu is the original father of mankind, and therefore in Sanskrit, mankind is called Manusha. Humanity, in different bodily qualities, is distributed throughout the various planetary systems. Mukam karati vakshanam karunam katitum yakikantam vande sikuram dinataram. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanam Shanashanakara Chakshuramitam Yana Tasmat Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Bhagavad Gita. So now we are in the Sarga part of creation, and we're all sleeping at this point. Hopefully not in class. But yes, at this point we're all asleep, and we're not going to wake up until Lord Brahma creates. In the Sarga, a few demigods are awake. We'll talk about them later. Yes, we are sleeping. Long time. So we heard in previous verses, there we go. Heard in previous verses that the Lord is the original creator, the founder person. He is a person, founder person. He has senses. He can see, he can hear, he can touch, he can taste. In other words, he has a form. And now he's revealing his form. So we can see, oh yes, he's a person. Before we couldn't really see, actually, but now universal form is manifest and we're able to perceive him. And so this is the answer to the demigod's prayers. We'll see why a little bit later on. Why is this the answer? So why does he create? We also heard from Maharaj that he wants to enjoy with his family, he wants to enjoy with everyone. He's the creator. And he also has emotions. What emotion does he feel that impels him to create? What's behind this whole creation? Well, what makes it move? To find out, we have to go back to chapter 5. There's a beautiful verse in the 5th chapter, 24th verse. How in the beginning the Lord was all by himself. And there was no material world. So he was feeling imperfect. How can Krishna feel imperfect? He has everything. He's self-satisfied. But still, yeah, he felt imperfect without his plenary and separated parts and parcels, it says. And so material energy was sleeping, and internal energy was awake. No material energy. So Prabhupada gives a poetic simile. He says that it's just like a husband feeling lonely in the absence of his wife. So he wanted to create, not only to enjoy with his, not with what he doesn't enjoy with his material energy, but he wanted her to be awake. But it is for us, actually. We were sleeping. She was sleeping and we were sleeping with her. And yes, he wants to give us a chance. So this is, the whole purpose of creation is to give us a chance to go back to home, back to Godhead. That's the main purpose. So he's so kind that when there is no material world, he feels something wanting. I mean, he's got Radharani, he's got all the gopis, he's got everything. But still, he wants something more. Yes, it's not that he's not satisfied, he's satisfied. But still, everything in the spiritual world is always increasing. So he wants to increase his pleasure. And that's why he wants to have the material world, so that we can wake up and join him. So in that purport, Prabhupada said, he is feeling compassion. That was his feeling. That motivates this creation. He's feeling compassion. He's seeing us suffering without him. And he wants us to enjoy. Very, very interesting sentence that Prabhupada says in this purport of 24. He said, since the Lord is such an anand-vigraha, he likes every part and parcel of his different potencies to take part in the blissful rasa, because participation with the Lord in his eternal rasa lila is the highest living condition. So purpose of creation. We wake up and we join Krishna in his rasa lila, that's it. He wants to increase his rasa lila, like you were saying yesterday. He wants us to join a party, the dance party. Yeah, there was one devotee was leaving her body in Mayapur, and it was all on Facebook. We were following it. And there were different comments, various comments. We hope she will recover soon. And so the husband was saying, yes, she will recover very soon. Her original identity. And go back to Godhead. Another comment, may she rest in peace. And he said, it's the body. The body's just going to be eaten by words, but she's going to go join the party. She's not going to rest in peace. Now the party's going to begin. It's all starting now when you go back to Godhead. So yes, so this is the purpose of creation. We're sleeping. And this verse describes, we can get a bit of idea how long we were sleeping. I mean, the night, how long is the night of Brahma? 311, no, that's his whole life. Half of 311 trillion. Anyway, a very long time. Oh, his night is not that long, that's his lifetime. And so the life is only 8 billion, 400 million, yeah. So we sleep, and it says a long sleep. And so, yes, he was feeling compassion. And one interesting point is, we may think, oh, he just wants to enjoy. But it's not like that. He doesn't just want to enjoy himself. He wants us to enjoy and be happy too. He wants us to enjoy. So the devotee, there's a competition. The devotee wants to make Krishna happy. He desires to serve Krishna. And Krishna wants to make the devotee happy. So there's a competition there between the devotee and Krishna, who can succeed. And yeah, I think the gopis won. So he had to come in as Lord Chaitanya, and here we have him as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to succeed over the gopis. And so there's an example of this when back 5,000 years ago, Krishna was visiting Arjuna in Kandavaprastha, the Pandavas' kingdom. And at that time, Agni begged for the forest of Kandava to be burned so he could eat it. So he had some indigestion or something. He wanted to eat all that to make him feel better. And so during that fire, one demon escaped, and Arjuna gave him protection. He didn't let Krishna kill him. So then Mayadanava, the demon, he came to Arjuna and said, well, what can I do for you? I want to repay you. And Arjuna said, okay, ask Krishna, do some service for Krishna. So he went to Krishna and said, okay, Krishna, what can I do for you? And Krishna said, go to Yudhishthira, ask him what you can do. So he built a beautiful palace for Yudhishthira. And so this is the competition going on between Krishna and the devotees. Who can make the other one enjoy? And so we were sleeping, we were forgetting Krishna. Krishna felt a lacking without us and wanted us to also wake up and join him in his Leela. So now we have that opportunity. Well, the creation is here, universal form is out there. We can see Krishna and try to make our lives perfect. So by his glance, he impregnated us here. And we heard in the last chapter, by his glance, he was helping the creation move along. Creation of the elements one after another. Final touch is his glance. And actually, if you read Brahma Samhita, you'll find out a very interesting point that it was Lord Shiva who carried that glance. And the glance, inside the glance, there were three things: Kala, Karma, and Jiva. There's time, there's us, and there's our karma. Can't escape your karma, even if you go and sleep in for a whole day of magic Brahman, or even a whole life of Brahman. Can't escape your karma. It follows you until you get liberated. You go back to home, back to God here. So Lord Shiva, he does that service. He carries the glance and he gives it to Maya. He consorts with Maya. So actually, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada says the father and mother are known as Lord Shiva and Durga. So one time I was giving a class in Nepal, and in Nepal they're big on Durga worshippers. Everybody worships Durga, and they used to do sacrifice like 5,000 buffaloes on Durga Puja. They don't do that anymore. They stopped that. They stopped that. But so I got the question: isn't Durga our mother? I said yes. She's the mother of our body. Narayani is the mother of our soul. And we're expansions of internal. We're expansions. Everybody's expansion of Radharani, although we're marginal. And so in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's described at a time beyond memory. After agitating material nature, the Supreme Lord placed the innumerable living entities in the womb of material nature. So then the material nature gave birth to Mahatattva, Hiranmaya Mahatattva. And so, how to move the creation? There were some demigods. We heard about them in the last chapter. Although we were sleeping, some demigods were awake, and they were created from the transformation of the mode of goodness. And they're meant to help for the creation. So it's not just the Lord creating, he's taking the help of living entities too. They had their service, they had their part to play in the creation. And who were these demigods? If you want to know their names, you can go to 2nd Canto, 5th chapter, verse 30, where it says, from the mode of goodness the mind is generated, and also the 10 demigods controlling the bodily movements. They are controller of directions, controller of the air, sun god, Varuna, Ashini Kumaras, fire god, king of heaven, and Brahma. All these are the 10 demigods who are offering these prayers in the last chapter. And so they're praying for help because they can't do their service. We heard yesterday there's 23 elements, but they were all separated. There is a nose here, eyes there, mouth over there, ears somewhere else, earth, water, fire, air. Everything was separated. They weren't together. And the demigods didn't know how to put them together. They were confused. Okay, what to do now? What's next? So they take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and pray for empowerment. So that's what we have to do. When we're confused in our devotional service, we take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and pray for empowerment. So demigods, why are they taking shelter? Lotus feet, because it's like an umbrella. Umbrella in Krishna's lotus feet shelters us from the rainfall of material miseries. And if you were to examine the lotus feet of Krishna in Lord Chaitanya, you would find an umbrella there. And if you meditate on that umbrella, you'll be free from material miseries. So the material miseries of this world are compared to rain. Sometimes it rains really heavy. Sometimes it rains really light. So how do these sages and demigods, they don't experience material miseries? Because it's not ordinary umbrella. It's shelter, it's consciousness. It's consciousness. I am Krishna's servant. Whatever happens, it's Krishna's mercy. And so the sage, the demigods, they see Krishna's hand in everything. So they don't experience miserable things as miserable like they we heard the analogy of the mother cat carrying the kitten on her mouth. So this is, of course, especially at the time of death, that the rat, we know what the rat is feeling, but the kitten is feeling very safe. And because sometimes the kittens wander, and so the mother cat brings them back and puts them back where they belong. And so we know at the time of death, we might feel the teeth of the mother cat, but we know the mother is taking us back home and to go here. So Srila Prabhupada interestingly comments somewhere, some purport in this chapter, that it's not only at the time of death that we may feel the teeth of the mother cat. We may feel them even during this life. And so, yes, sometimes that happens, and we have to see, yeah, okay, maybe I'm going the wrong direction, I have to change direction. So, in the purport of verse 39 of the last chapter, Prabhupada explains that other transcendentalists, Gyanis, yogis, don't get this protection. It's only for devotees. They get the special protection. And later on in this chapter, we will hear more explanation about exactly what to expect if you meditate on the Lord's lotus feet. And that's where our meditation begins, on the feet. Because the Lord, he looks at his feet, like when he was laying in his bed, he was asleep, and Duryodhana came to ask for Krishna's help, and Arjuna also came. And Arjuna stayed at the feet, Duryodhana stayed at the head, so when Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna first. He was at the feet. And so, yeah, we have to stay at the feet. So meditation of the devotee who's a yogi is described. We should concentrate on the thunderbolt, goad, banner, and lotus. And his ruby nails have an effulgence, just like the moon, and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. So if you have a gloomy heart, here's what to do. Meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada comments that in this world everything is dark. And not only outside, inside, our heart is dark. We don't know what is what. So if we concentrate on the lotus feet of Krishna, on these marks, then everything will be kicked out, the darkness will be kicked out, and we will have light. So Ganga is on the lotus feet of Krishna. It's also coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. And we heard in one lecture, I think Lal Govinda was quoted that the lotus feet is not separated from the rest of the Lord's body. It's not like we're just having the feet and that's it, grabbing the feet. No, it's all together. Krishna is there too, and he will give himself to us. So how to worship the lotus feet? And there is a purport in 2nd Canto, 8th chapter, verse 5. Srila Prabhupada says, by sincere efforts to hear Srimad Bhagawatam, one realizes his constitutional relationship with the Lord in 5 different rasas and becomes situated in transcendental loving service to the Lord. So we know that Mukunda Malastotra, he prays, I pray this one of my mind may sink to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be entangled there. That would be nice. You see swans where I was in Ireland last. There's swans there and they dive. They go for the lotus flowers. Yeah, for fish too. But we want the lotus flowers. Yeah, we got enough fish. So pure devotee, here's the first here. Actually, what are these lotus feet? It's a very interesting verse. Pure devotee whose heart has been once cleansed by the process of devotional service never relinquishes the lotus feet of Krishna, for they fully satisfy him as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. Yes. I used to travel the last 10 years before COVID hit. I used to travel 7-8 months a year. And many times I would wake up and I wouldn't know where I was. And you just have to read a label somewhere, see what language it was, and kind of figure out. And so when you're a traveler like that, it's hard to be oriented, hard to keep your orientation. So I was thinking, okay, where's my home? What's my home? Because I was more traveling than I was at home. I was, so where's my home actually? And then I read this verse, I said, okay, lotus feet of Krishna, because that goes with you wherever you are. That's your home. And so, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport to that verse that difficulties may be encountered by preachers, but they're gladly suffered by devotees because devotees feel pleasure because the Lord is satisfied. Make Krishna happy. Pure devotees like Narayani and Nityananda take up the order of the spiritual master as the sustenance of life. They do not mind what becomes of the future of their lives. They take the matter very seriously. So, yes, when we go home, they will forget all our troubles. I think there was a story with Induduna Swami where he was traveling with Srila Prabhupada and he was at the airport. And so Prabhupada went on ahead and he had to take care of Prabhupada's luggage. And it took a long time and he got there to the temple with all this heavy luggage. And he went up the stairs to Prabhupada's room and he went and gave his luggage to Prabhupada. He offered obeisances and Prabhupada slapped him on the back. He said, yes, here there are so many troubles. But when you go back to Godhead, then you will be very happy. So yes, here there are lots of troubles. And he went back down. There was a big feast. All the devotees were saying, wow, what a great feast, but nothing was left for him. He didn't get anything. So, sometimes that happens. And we're engaged in our service and they don't save us prasad. But yes, we have to tolerate. So, this material world is compared to a poison tree, Visha. And it has 2 sweet fruits, association of devotees and the Shastra. So again, in that purport on 2nd canto, Prabhupada says, the river Ganges and Bhagavad Gita are chief sources of transcendental happiness for mankind, and intelligent persons take shelter of them to go back home back to Godhead. Even Sripad Shankaracharya recommends a little knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, and drinking a little Ganga water can save one from the punishment of Yamraj. So I have a true story. Someone got saved from Yamraj by reading one line of Bhagavad Gita. So this was a person, anyway, book distributor sold the Gita to somebody. The person took it home and his roommate read it. His roommate was a drunkard. And so he read one line, for the soul, there is never birth nor death. Rubbish, and threw it. Rubbish. But the time came when he drank a little too much. Yamadutas came for him, took him to Yamraj, and So Yamaraj said, you are very sinful, you have to suffer. What are you going to do now? And the junkie remembered the line from Bhagavatam. He said, for the soul, there is never birth or death. Yamaraj said, okay, go back. So the guy picked up the Bhagavad Gita, read it cover to cover, found the address, and joined the temple, became a brahmachari. This is in Eastern Europe somewhere. And, but then about 6 months after brahmachari life, he thought, oh, this is very austere, I need a drink. He went out to the bar, drinking the whole day. And then nighttime came. And they said, okay, we're closing, you have to leave now. And then the guy said, what are you going to do now? And he got such a fright, he went back to the temple. So that was, he was saved from Yamaraj. And Prabhupada, what Prabhupada says is true. And this happened. This one person had a near-death experience and became a devotee because of it. From reading one line of Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, it works. So therefore we should also read Bhagavad Gita too. My book help us to be saved not only from Yamaraj but from our crazy minds. So yeah, Kunti tells, who can see Krishna's lotus feet? Those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see the lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So the demigods, they worshiped, they offered their prayers. They didn't know how to put the pieces together. So the Lord has now revealed his universal form, although he put all the pieces together in universal form. The elements are there, the eyes, the ears, the nose, everything is now in one form. So now how does it fit in? Later on in this chapter, soon, very soon, I think even next week we're going to hear how the demigods will find their place in universal form and enter into the different parts of universal form. And later on, Brahma will use the universal form as a blueprint for his creation, so he'll know where everything goes. So he's not actually the creator, but he's just the engineer. He's just the engineer, he's not the creator. The Lord is, yeah, so the purpose of creation, Krishna wants us to be happy and enjoy with him. And another way to understand why the Lord wants us to be with him, and why does he want us to be with him? He does. And he comes here to bring us back, and he sends, and he comes as Lord Chaitanya to show us how, and he comes as Srila Prabhupada to, get everything out of India and give it to everyone. So in the 9th canto, the Leela of Durvasa Muni, when Durvasa went to Narayani, Narayani said, "Oh, best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. So it's no fun without my devotees," he's saying, basically. So Prabhupada said he requires the cooperation of his devotees to enjoy his bliss. He's happy. He's always happy, but he wants to enjoy his devotees. So why? Because, so Prabhupada is very revealing purport. Prabhupada says, such pure devotees who can increase the pleasure and potency of the Lord are certainly most dear to him. Not only does the Lord enjoy the company of his devotees, because he's unlimited, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. So he's got unlimited desires. He wants more devotees. He's got all the ones in the spiritual world, but there's still a quarter left. He wants everyone. He wants everyone. And so Prabhupada says, he requests them to surrender to him because unlimited as he is, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. This Krishna conscious movement is an attempt to increase the number of pure devotees more and more. It is certain devotee who helps in this endeavor to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes indirectly a controller of the Supreme Lord. We heard that yesterday, or maybe the day before, not yesterday. Maharaj was saying that even by practicing sadhana bhakti, we can control the Lord a little bit. So we were sleeping. Krishna wants us to wake up so we can be happy and enjoy with him. And people are still sleeping. Even though they look like they're awake, but they're still sleeping. Sometimes we are too. We seem to be awake, but no. So Lord Chaitanya came. He's calling, wake up, Jeet Jagro, wake up, sleeping souls. I brought the medicine to cure your disease. Please take Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Prabhupada compares Hare Krishna mantra to snake charmer's mantra. He said the snake charmers, if you're unconscious from snake bite, they chant a mantra to wake you up. So people are unconscious in this world to spiritual life, so we chant Hare Krishna to wake them up. Okay? So when I was in India, my friend, we were going village to village doing book distribution. And my friend Rana Kund, she got bit by a snake because we went to one village and she put her table right where a snake charmer, it was his spot. So he sent the snake to bite her.
Oh.
Yeah. So she didn't die, just her legs swelled up really badly. And so then we went to the next village and we found another snake charmer. And he chanted mantras and it took out the poison.
Wow.
So it works. There's still snake charmers in India that was maybe 30 years ago, in the 80s. But I think they're still, like in Mayapur, they have snake charmers that can do that. And so we want to wake up the sleeping people with the Hare Krishna mantra. And this is the purpose of creation also. It's following the Lord's compassion. Take away the poison and give them the happiness, Krishna consciousness. Well, let's stop here. Any questions or comments? Yes.
We're going to have an opportunity this afternoon between 3 and 4:30.
Oh, today we can wake up the sleeping souls.
Yeah.
And Harinam Sankirtan,
Yes.
3 and 4:30. Great.
So please join if you can.
Yeah. Yes? You have a question?
I just want to add something. I mean,
I'm going to add something. Okay.
Well, I hear your Bhagavad Gita, and then it takes the karma, yoga, and then he says something about demigods, and then he said, be happy with this yagya,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada's purport said, for this age, the yagya is Sankirtan.
Right.
So,
Yeah, Sankirtan Yoga. Very good. Thank you. And we're going to do that today. Yes?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So what does it mean to be free from the threefold, material miseries?
What does it mean to be free?
Free, and you compare it to, like, Krishna consciousness to like holding up an umbrella, right?
Yeah.
When it rains, and then you won't get wet. But we experience that our bodies give us a lot of pain, and it hurts, and so it definitely feels like even though we may be Krishna conscious, the pain is still there, and other people still make us miserable. And so that, there's a big difference when you do service and there is prasadam left versus not having prasadam left. So what does it mean to be free from the threefold miseries?
Well, Bhagavatam, first of all, to be free means to be free from anxiety and to be fearless. Have no fear. And to be free from anxiety. Because the spiritual world, there's no fear, there's no anxiety. So that's a very simple answer. But Bhagavatam also explains how you can become free. I mean, I could give a whole class on it, but maybe someday I will. But it tells you how you can counteract these miseries and be free. And so there's three kinds of miseries. There's miseries from other living beings, there's miseries from the mind and body, and miseries from nature. So there's different prescriptions given.
Jai Shri Panchatattva.
Three prescriptions, so I'll just tell that verse. 7th canto, 15th chapter. can't remember, I think 24, not sure. Narayani is explaining to Prahlada. So Narayani is explaining to Yudhishthira, yeah, and Prahlada is hearing it. So, so if you want to be free from the miseries due to nature, then you have to practice meditation and trance. So you have to be absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna. You want to be free from miseries due to other living beings. Then you have to practice good behavior and freedom from envy. If you're envious, you're going to suffer. And if you don't practice good behavior, you're going to suffer. And then the third is your own body and mind. Bhagavatam recommends Hatha Yoga and Pranayama. And Pranayama, Prabhupada explains, is chanting Hare Krishna and dancing in Kirtan. So, and Gita also says, if you regulate eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, if you regulate it, you'll be free from your miseries. So it requires some effort in your heart.
Well, it sounds like it's mitigated, but like you still suffer. Like even if you don't have any envy, like somebody might come up to you and just punch you in the nose for no reason.
Yes, that's true. Well, so the sages see it as Krishna's mercy. So you'll have to do that too. But no, there's a practice, and just like the example of that is Rishabh. People were doing everything to him like that. Mm-hmm. And he was the incarnation of God. Yeah. But he showed us how to tolerate. Because, and that's the first instruction Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, is that you're going to experience happiness, you're going to experience distress. And there's only one thing to do, and that is to tolerate it. That's the first thing he told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. First he said, of course, that's his first instruction. Before that he said, yes, we're spiritual beings, we are eternally living. And so if you really believe that you're not this body and you're eternally living, then you're going to tolerate. But of course we don't tolerate abuse. And we don't tolerate if somebody punches somebody else either. Then we're going to protect them. And so yeah, there's a fine line there you have to. But with years of practice, then it becomes easier to understand how to behave properly. And one time one man was insulting Srila Prabhupada very badly, saying bad things. The devotees wanted to get that guy. Prabhupada said, no, in my last life I must have insulted him. So now he's insulting me. So the devotee, if you get punched in the face, wow, it could have been worse. He could have broken my arm. It's a token of my karma. It's a token. Yeah.
You just reminded me of the story of Srila Prabhupada when they took him to the hospital and they started doing all these tests and things, and they brought out this huge needle to give him a shot. And then the devotees were asked to leave the room, and they came back and says, "How are you doing, Srila Prabhupada?" And he says, "We are tolerant."
Oh, wow. Well, yes, Maharaj.
You read something about an assertion that really struck me. Krishna wants to increase his pleasure potency.
Yes.
Do you remember where that was?
Yes, that was 64 or 65. Yeah, it's there. You check 64 and 65, one of those. Yeah, and his pure devotees help him increase his pleasure potency. So it's amazing. If we become devotees, we're increasing Krishna's pleasure potency.
Yeah, because we become
we give him pleasure.
infected with his pleasure potency.
Yeah, and we give him pleasure.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Okay. Jai, Bhagavan.
Jai, Bhagavan.